welcome to Spirit and Life Radio. I am your host, Jeffrey Meyer, finishing up our series on faith that changes the world. Continuing today on Hebrews chapter 11 into Hebrews chapter 12. And today I'll begin with Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1. Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight. Now let's just stop there for a moment, if you will. This divides the men from the boys. Remember that word wherefore. Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight. He's still talking about faith here. Who is it that doesn't demonstrate faith? Those who are weighted down. Well, weighted down with what? With unbelief, with fear, with circumstances, with a testimony from an individual that didn't work, or the prayer of faith was offered and they still died, with the love of this world, with the cares of this life, with sorrows, with griefs, weighted down. But God says, lay aside every weight. If you are carrying any weights, you have them because you want them. Oh, you say, no, that isn't true. But do you realize that identical things can happen to two different people, and one goes up while the other one goes down? You see, it is not what happens to you. It is how you react to what happens. Our insides make us what we are. One will say, I couldn't go through it, but somebody else went sailing through. Lay aside every weight and the sin. Some weights may not necessarily be sin, so God goes a little deeper. Faith will not wait around in sin, which doth so easily beset us. To live a life of God's strength and power, you will have to lay aside the weights and sin that so easily get you off the track with God. They easily throw you to one side until you're not in the main line anymore. With the Holy Spirit, you cannot be with God's greatest if you hang on to sin. You can only be with God's greatest when you live a clean, holy, pure, undefiled life. God said this, but preachers who preach it become identified. He's a hard preacher, people say. But preachers are not supposed to tell you how sweet you are, but rather are supposed to tell you what God means for you to do. And let us run with patience the race that is set before us. Run! That doesn't mean slow down. If you don't keep moving, the devil will grow as devil weeds all around you. Therefore, run, and that means move. Remember, faith is movement. Faith is an act. Faith is not an idea, a dream, or a mental assertion. Faith is going somewhere, reaching for something, doing something for God. Put a circle around the word patience in your Bible in that verse. There are also many quitters. Thousands say, I've got faith. Then a few days later, they say, well, I guess I didn't have it. No, they had something else, and it wasn't faith. The faith life is called a race. And until you get to the finish line, life is a race set before you. Only by faith can you run it well, while looking unto Jesus. And if you don't look unto Jesus, your faith will fall flat. Many people are looking at a lot of different things, and if you look at people, whether your pastor or anybody else, you will get hurt and lose out. You will get discouraged and say, they didn't do it right. They didn't do this. They didn't do that. But you keep looking straight into the eyes of Jesus. Why? Well, it tells us He is the author and finisher of our faith. Jesus is the beginner and the finisher of your faith. That means no party is related to your faith but you and Jesus. He started it and He will finish it. He conceived it and He will culminate it. Everything your faith will ever have is in Jesus, nowhere else. If you put your faith in a man or in a situation on earth, you will be let down. Jesus is the author and the completer of your faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross. This is almost unbelievable. It means he looked straight across those 3 days. He looked through the cross and the grave to the joy that was set before him. He could say, "Go ahead, hit my back. It will be healed on the 3rd day, and we'll never hurt again. Nail me to the cross. I don't mind this. I've got that coming." And if we can't see life that way, our faith will wobble and weaken. Even while someone is hurting, you hear, and now. Faith says, that doesn't mean a thing to me. Man, I've got it made right over there. The whole Bible supports that. What if Joseph had given up halfway and quit? His own family and the nation of Egypt would have starved to death, but he didn't let down. He didn't quit no matter how dark it got. They could put him in a hole. They could put him in jail. They could lie on him. He had a dream. He lived by a dream. He said, "I dreamed that I was to be great, and I've got to be great. I've got to get out of this jail. I've got to be great." And the day came when he walked out, and he didn't stop halfway. No, he went straight to the throne and took a seat as the prime minister of the nation. Now, I think there are many whom God was going to elevate to tremendous situations in this life, but they just failed to run their race. They failed to look to Jesus, the author and the finisher of their faith. And they didn't see the joy of what was on the other side in relationship to what was happening. Instead of despising the shame meant nothing to Jesus. People spit on him and mocked him, but he just said, "Let me love you. Let me bless you." Don't let people shame you, my friend. Don't let people look down on you. Just say, "You need an Aaronic prayer blessing." You know what? I'll just give you one right now. I want to encourage you today. Just be so big until you have to look down on them to see them. Just be so great until whatever they do is like a little kitten messing around by your toes. The shame meant nothing to him. Romans spitting, what did it mean? That little pipsqueak governor with the backbone of a jellyfish, what did that mean to Jesus? They'd be in hell in a few days, and Christ would be King of kings and Lord of lords forever and ever. Faith moves straight through such obstacles. Faith goes right by the derisions of others. And Jesus is set down at the right hand of the throne of God. For consider him that endured such contradiction of sinners against himself. Now God says to consider Jesus, who endured the contradiction of sinners, and you've heard the contradiction of sinners. This is how it sounds. Oh, it doesn't do any good to go to church. It doesn't do any good to read the Bible. What do they know about it? Nothing! Lest you be wearied and faint in your minds. When you see people getting wearied and faint, you know what you're doing. They're listening to the contradiction of sinners. They are associating with the wrong people. They are not listening to faith. They are not reading the Word. They are not allowing the great cloud of witnesses God has prepared to surround them, and they are losing out. God gives them a rebuke in the next verse when he says, "Ye have not yet resisted unto blood, striving against sin." He says you haven't laid down your life yet. You haven't been nailed to a cross. Don't be pitying yourself. Some people run away and cry when someone just looks at them the wrong way. That doesn't hurt you. Smile back. And you have forgotten the exhortation which speaketh unto you as unto children. We are the children of God. We are different from this world. My son, despise not thou the chastening of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him. If a problem comes up, whip it down. God doesn't want any of us fainting. For whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. God tries us out. He proves us. And if you think it was easy for Noah to have faith, you should have been there. He didn't win a single convert in 120 years. That's a long time to preach and not get anybody. Thank God he saved his own household, but he didn't win anybody else. And that's pretty dark, is it not? But Noah stayed true, and so should you. He believed, and he endured. If ye endure chastening, God dealeth with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? Perhaps this is the best chapter of all. It gives you the dark side and the light side. It gives you the bright side and the side you won't enjoy so much. But you are not short on witnesses to the wonders of walking in faith. God is saying to you, look at these people and see what they have done. You can say God can do it all over again. Everything he has done, he can do now. Only your unbelief will keep him from doing it for you. Only your unbelief will keep him from changing your world. Trust God today. Let him guide you in the ways of faith until you see Jesus face to face. Dear friends, if you'd like more information about the church and the ministry, please go to our website at www.surreycitychurch.com. That's surreycitychurch.com. And in doing so, you will also find our donate button at the top of the page. When you click on that, that will take you to our PayPal website. There you can make your tax-deductible donation by using your credit or debit card. Or, if you don't use PayPal, just follow the continue link at the bottom of the page to your left. And remember, we are a listener-supported radio broadcast in need of your support financially in order to stay on the air here on KARI Radio. And when you give, we're going to send you out a CD, The Spirit of Man and the Life of the Spirit. 60-plus minutes of insightful revelation on the human spirit and the life of God's Spirit in man. You are sure to be blessed. We also hope that you're sharing this broadcast with many of your friends. Ask them to tune in every Monday through Friday. Now, if you don't use the PayPal tool, you can always write to us and send in your donation to Spirit and Life Radio, suite number 491, 7360, 137th Street, Surrey, BC, V3W 1A3. That's suite number 491, 7360, 137th Street, Surrey, V3W 1A3. And on the U.S. side, you can send in your donation to P.O. Box 737, Ferndale, Washington, 98248. P.O. Box, that's 737 in Ferndale, Washington, 98248. Canadians, please make your checks out to Surrey Central City Church. And on the U.S. side, write your checks to Spirit Life Worship Center. Please include Spirit and Life Radio in the memo section of your checks so we may receipt all of you properly who give. And we want you to know we appreciate your help in keeping us on the air. Now, if you'd like to contact us for that information again or simply write to us, you may do so by email by writing to spiritandliferadio@gmail.com. That's spiritandliferadio@gmail.com. Or you can call our toll-free number at 877-800-0429. That's 877-800-0429. Finally, if you'd like to visit our Sunday service, it is held at the brand new Chuck Bailey Recreation Center at 10:30 a.m., just south of the Gateway SkyTrain station on University Drive and 107 Avenue, or just north of the BC Lions practice facility on Park City Way and 107 Avenue. All of our information is on our website at surreycitychurch.com. Now remember, friends, it is the Spirit who gives life. The flesh profits nothing. The words that I speak to you are spirit, and they are life. Spirit Life Radio, your spirit-filled connection.